This is Excel Module 3 textbook project in here, and this is titled Using a Formula Using the Quick Analyst Tool. Unfortunately, if you're a Mac user, there is no Quick Analyst tool unless something happened in the last couple of days, but you can still do everything. You just have to do it a different way. So I will show you how to do that as well. So I've opened up the worksheet over here, and this is what the Quick Analyst toolbar access looks like. However, you're going to be able to do it just from using regular formulas, which I will show you how to do that in there. So we are now going into selecting the range B3 to E12. And notice that it opens up for you automatically in there. And that's what the Quick Analyst toolbar is. Now, if you have a Mac and you try Control Q or Command Q, I'm not sure if it'll work, but you might want to try that in there. So I don't think the information gives you that. But if I click on it, you'll see that you have data bars, color, iron, sets, and totals here. So the only thing you won't be able to do is use this, which actually puts sum to the right, where this puts sum down so what you'll have to do is you'll have to select it manually and using the sum from the auto sum. So it's a little bit extra step, but that's not a major issue over here. So it wants me right now to select this row here and column. And if I click on this here and I go to totals, so notice if I click on sum, it puts it down there. But if I click on this sum, it puts it to the right. So that's the advantage of having the Quick Analyst toolbar. But in your particular case, if you have a Mac, you'll just have to go in here and do the auto sum here. And you'll just have to choose that and copy it down. So basically, it's going to be the same thing over here. So you can see it does do sum B3 to E3 and exactly what you would do if you choose the sum. So you can try the Control Q or Command Q to see if that works. And if it does, great. If not, then just do it that way. So now we're going to click on cell H3. And it wants us to type in a formula. We're going to start off with the equal sign and a parentheses. And then I'm going to type F3, or you can click in F3, either one. Then we want minus G3. And then the right parentheses. And then I'm going to click on divide by G3. Now I want you to remember, if you do not use these parentheses, what's going to happen first, it's going to type in G3 and divide it by G3 and get 1, and then type in, subtract that from F3. So F3 is 130903. So the answer really should be 902. So let me hit this enter here first. And then I'm going to delete these parentheses, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So notice that it just subtracted it from there. So that's why these parentheses are so important. And what it does, when the parentheses forces the subtraction here first before the division, you should learn that from the order of operations in your math classes in there, hopefully. So that was number 4. Number 5, we've done that. And number 6, we've done that as well. So it wants us to click the percent sign and to make sure that you have 2 decimal places. So I'm going to click the percent sign. If it doesn't give you 2 decimal places, you're going to increase it here twice. If it does, fine. It depends upon what you used on your last setting. So that did not. So I'm going to just increase it twice. And we have the 7541, and we're going to drag the fill handle down. Now, one thing I want to remind you, some of the exercises are going to ask you to copy down, use the fill handle without formatting. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. And then I'll remind you again. If I just drag this down here like so, it's going to copy it just fine. However, if I right click on this and drag it down, it's going to bring up a little box and I can choose fill without formatting. So that's the way you're going to do it. So for here, I'm just going to take this and drag it down. And that takes care of that. Does not tell me to do it without formatting, so I just left it as such. So that takes care of 3-1. We're going to use a logical formula to build an if. An if is nothing more than it tests a condition and gives you a true condition and a false. Like, for instance, if today is Wednesday, then lunch is spaghetti. Otherwise, it's macaroni and cheese in there. And then, of course, you can have nested ifs. And that's just called a logical comparison. And you can, I'm sure you've already learned about that in math class. So it tells us to click I3. So here is R3, I3. And what we're doing is we're checking to see if H3 is greater than or equal to B13. And then we want to make sure that it is a absolute reference. So let's go and let's see what B413 is a percentage. So we're going to click in equals, or I'm just going to choose this and go to if. And I'll just, for this case, I'll type in H3 is greater than or equal to B13. Now, make sure that you hit F4 and make sure you manually put the dollar signs in if you're necessary, if you have to go back and edit it. That means that's absolute reference, so the B13 will not change when we copy down. So if that's the case, then we're going to type in met, otherwise we're going to type in missed. Now, when you're typing in text, in this matter, you do not have to put in the quote signs. It'll put them in for you automatically. And then we have met or missed. So here is the answer as met. And then we can just copy down. So let me see what it tells me to do. Use the fill handle to copy down. All right, so we'll do that. And here's what we should have. We have met, let's see, does it give us, so we've met, miss, miss, met, miss, miss. Okay, so we're looking good. Always check to make sure that you have what you need, and that will solve any issues. It talks about nesting if issues. Let's try that one more time. It talks about nesting if functions in there. So you can nest it, and you're going to see some nesting ones later on. So we are now on 3.3, building a logical formula with and. If you're aware, and means that both conditions need to be true. If one or both of them are true, then it's false. And or just means or. So let's go and build one. It says click in L3. And it wants us to type the and. So we'll click over here and do and. Another way you can do it is do the formulas, and that should be under logical. And both of these conditions need to be true in here. So you can actually have more than one. So the first condition is J3 is greater than or equal to. So we have J3 is greater than or equal to K3. So I'm hitting the tab key. Now notice that as a condition 3, if you need to, you can put as many conditions as you need to. So the next condition is I3 equals met. Now here, you have to type in the quotes. In there, if I didn't type in the quotes, it may give you an error depending upon what met stands for. So just make sure you put the quotes in, and you can see right away if you're having an issue. It'll tell you right over here. So that looks good, and we'll click on OK. So because one of them was false, that's why this is false. So then we're going to copy it down using the fill handle. And I'm looking at my screen. It says false, 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 then a true, false, 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 true, false. So we're looking good so far as what the worksheet says. Then we're going to enter your name and section in the footer preview. Okay, so let's go to insert. And we want to go to header and footer. Because it says footer, we need to click on go to footer. And in the center, it says type your name. And we'll click anywhere else. Now we need to get out of this view, so we'll just click on normal. And I believe that's everything there. It gives you explanation of and or and not. Okay, not means basically if this is false in here. So we don't have to worry about that for right now. So and means both A1 is greater than 5 and B1 is greater than 25 has to be true in there. And or either one is true. So that's good. So all you have to worry about. We now have 3-4 round a function. I'm going to show you a way to do it that you may like later on where you have a round of a function. But for right now, we're just going to do a strict round, I believe. So let's click in cell B15. And we're doing the average. So we're going to click on the average from the auto sum. And we just want to select, let's see what it wants. It wants F3 to F12. So we want to do the average of the year revenue. And we'll click enter. That takes care of this. So then it's going to want us to round it. We have the 0.4 is there. So we're going to go to here. And I'm going to show you a little trick. I'm going to copy this average right here. Save you some hassles of having to. So now I'm going to put in the round function. And what I want to do here is just type in the average here. So you don't have to physically type in all of this round and do this. And then we want to do it to 0. And that looks good. Otherwise, I would have had to type in, I would have to put round in there, and I would have to put in the extra parentheses, comma 0 there. So it makes it a lot easier to do it. You can do it however way you want to. So I'll show you how to do it from here. Let's just click in the average if you wanted to do it that way. So if we wanted to make this the round, we'd click here, type in RO, and notice that will automatically bring you these things that begin with RO. Double click, don't hit the enter key. And now we have it here. So then you would have to type in a comma, 0, and the right parentheses. So you do it whatever way you feel more comfortable. I just wanted to show you both ways how to do it. So that takes care of number 3, 4, and 5. And we did that. That looks good using, okay, there's also a round up and a round down function. So you can read that as well. Round up just basically rounds up to the next highest integer. Round down, of course, is down. All right. So now we have a count A. What the count A basically does is just counts the number of entries that have information in it. So you can read about that. It tells you when you select the range over here, you can use either count or count A. The count function tells the number of cells that contain numeric data, which includes dates and formulas. The count A just tells you how many contain just kind of any kind of entry in here. So if we want just numeric number, we'd have to use the count. If we want count A to include text, we just use count A in there. So that takes care of the explanation. You can read that at your leisure. So we're going to click on cell B14. And we're going to use the click. It tells us to do it. Click on the formulas and more. And then we're going to do statistical. And here is, it wants us to use count A. But I'm going to use count just for the heck of it. And let's go down here and see what you get. And see what it, so notice it gives you 0. The reason being is because none of these are numeric. So I'm going to click on this and it gives us a 0. Now I'm going to add an A to it and see what happens. And then I'll redo this. So now we have 10. So let me do this from scratch again. Let's go into the more functions, statistical, and count A. Let's go down and drag this. And this will count anything that has something in the cell. So that's 10. So that looks correct. Hopefully it is. And there's, see what it shows in there. 10 is correct. So now we're going to select the range. Let's see. I'm reading in here. Select the range H3 to H12. So here's H3 to H12. And we want to click on format. And it wants us to do a special format. So let's go into the home and format. And we're going to create a, I think it wants us to create a new rule, or let's see. Oh, I'm in conditional formatting. Sorry about that. Let's go into here and let's go to custom. Now notice that we have some things already in there from stuff that I've put in before. So I'm just going to type in what it tells me to type in, and then I'll explain it to you. So we have the 000 in there. Then it has a semicolon. And then we're putting in brackets, red. And then we're going to put in 00. In here. So this should give us red if something is not. I'll show you what this looks like here, what they're telling you to do. So you have the 000, then the semicolon. The red means that we want it in red, and this is if it's in the negative. So I need to put in the parentheses here. And if all goes well, anything that's negative will show in red. So let's see if I did it right. And I did not. Let's see. I'm looking to see what I spelled wrong. 000. Okay, I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, so I'm going to look at it and figure it out. So let's check it again after changing the bracket to a square, and there we go. So I'm going to show you a little trick that you can modify if you like with this. We're going to go back to this here, and I'm just going to change this. I don't like red. I want green. You could actually put in green here, and you could actually put in a minus sign here if you want, and let's see what happens. So you can see how you can change that. So let me undo this so we go back to the way it was. So you can play around with that at your leisure. It's kind of neat. It's some of the things that you can come up with. So that is all of that. And let me see how much we have. So I'm going to cut the video off here and we'll do a second part of it.